state and saying, no, we're going to win the state come next election. And he's talking about how, Hillary Clinton comes after him about being terrible for women. But look at her. Look at the way she destroyed the lives of all the women that had affairs with her husband. Look at the way her husband treated these women, and she enabled it. And he's already hitting her on that. He's hitting her on the fact that everyone thinks she's a Wall Street puppet about the whole Benghazi thing, about her being asleep while all this was going on in Syria. I mean, he's going after it hard already. He's getting the jump start, and Hillary can't because she's got to deal with Bernie Sanders. And then she's got to worry about trying to flip those voters afterwards, after she does get the nomination, which I think she will. I think she'll get the nomination. And I don't think they're going to jump. And I think there's a lot of people on the right. I mean, I don't think there already is. There's already lots of people coming out saying, no, we're going to change our voting affiliation to Libertarian. And the Libertarian Party has the perfect guy for this situation, Gary Johnson. The guy that I will be voting for, Gary Johnson, former governor of my state, New Mexico. He is the perfect guy because he is very, very conservative on the government side. He's not, he's super small government, reforming taxes, cutting the deficit, cutting the budget, but still getting roads and schools built. I mean, he's for getting rid of Obamacare and fixing the healthcare system. But on the other end, he is pro-gay marriage. He's not for the government sticking their nose in the whole abortion thing. He is, the whole trans bathroom thing. He's for that. He is for the legalization of marijuana. He is for all those things. He is the perfect guy to steal voters, the disenfranchised voters from both sides, and make them his. And he's snarky. He's already going after Trump. He posted on his Facebook page. He posted, he shared, or he took a screenshot of the whole taco bowl thing, which, at that point, Trump is just trolling people. When he posted that picture of the, oh, I love Hispanics. Look at me eating this taco bowl on Cinco de Mayo. He's just trolling at this point. He is just sticking it to people and saying, haha, I'm the Republican nomination, and there's nothing you can do to stop me now. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was just absolutely funny. And it's refreshing because you can tell this guy doesn't have advisors or people telling him what to say, because there's no way anyone would have advised him to do that. It was just crazy. But Gary Johnson now, he screenshotted that, posted it, and said, as a New Mexican, this is disgusting. And he tagged the Facebook post that he was with Douche. And I think Douche came up with being some nightclub somewhere, but he's already just coming out and calling Trump a douchebag. And I think those two going head-to-head will be funny, because you have two guys right there who don't really care if they want to win, but at the same time, if they don't win, it's not going to be the end of their lives, the end of their careers. Where with Hillary, when she is so calculated in everything she says, and, there's all these YouTube videos, and you can go look at them, where she's changing her accent from, state to state that she goes to, or when she's speaking in front of a black audience doing a Q&A, and they ask her, oh, what's the one thing you carry on you at all times? And she's like, oh, hot sauce. I always have to have my hot sauce. She's just so boring and calculating and fake. And then on the other side, you're going to have these two guys running against her, Trump and Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson already polling in double digits against the two of them, and that's with 40% of the people polled don't actually know enough about him to make a decision. And we saw it the night that Cruz dropped out. Searches for third party, searches for the Libertarian Party, and searches for Gary Johnson on Google, quadruple. They went up 100% that night. And you could just as very well see that the night that Hillary wins the Democratic nomination. You're going to see it, and more people are going to get knowledge about him. And then you're starting to see the news stories, the Washington Times, or the Washington Post, the New York Times, all these publications are coming out, and they're running stories on Gary Johnson this week. And it's going to come up again when Hillary wins that Democratic nomination. You're going to see lots more interest in him. And I think people are going to find that they actually like the guy. They actually are going to find, hey, this guy's not that bad. He's actually in the middle. He's not far to the left or far to the right. And the other thing, I think at the end of this day, say what you want about Trump, we will look back at this election cycle and we will see how important this will be in American history of politics, because I think this will be the year that we go back and see the two-party system break. You'll see, because I think Sanders is going to do it on the left. And like in Europe, it's kind of like they have 5 different parties all throughout Europe. You have the far right, the center, or sometimes it's even like the far right, the center right, the middle, the center left, and then the far left. You have all these different variations of the left and the right, and we don't have that here in the United States, but I think we're finally getting to that point. And you're seeing it with Trump, and you're going to see it with Bernie Sanders versus Hillary. You're going to have Bernie Sanders is far left, and I think you could see him, and you could see that becoming a whole new party because his supporters are so loyal to him that the far left might become a movement, and then you might have, the Libertarian Party become a movement, and we might see a 4-party system happen here in the United States, which would be a very, very welcoming sign, because this 2-party system is finally breaking, because people are no longer comfortable being confined to, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. They're saying, well, I'm a Republican, but I'm more this, or I'm a Democrat, but I'm far more to the left than just being a Democrat. There's the progressive, there are the conservatives. There's the Republicans, Democrats. There's different parties inside the parties themselves, and this might be the time in American history when those little parties break out away from the big parties. Either way, it's going to be fascinating to see what comes of this, and I'm excited because I will have lots to talk about on this podcast. So please subscribe, follow, tell friends if you enjoyed it. Like I said, you can tweet the show at KSportsPod on Twitter. You can email ksportspod@gmail.com, KSportsPod on KSports Podcast on SoundCloud. You can find it there. And we're still waiting to find out about iTunes and the iHeart Music app. So find us, and always all this stuff. There's going to be pictures. The Gary Johnson picture is up on the blog, which is ksportspod.wordpress.com. So you can find it there. Lots of ways to find the show. If you're listening to this, obviously you've found the show to begin with. So thank you very much for listening. And as always, God bless America.